Why does one post define your whole life? Years ago, our parents warned us, be very careful about what you post on the internet. Once it's there forever. Turns out they were right. Today, a post you made 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago can suddenly come back and define who that person is in someone's mind. If they did something wrong, everybody will see it. It doesn't matter what you've done since. You could have turned around, recovered, doesn't matter. So, how do we get here? What does that say about the society we live in today? That's what we're talking about here. Because on Boss Man, the story isn't over.
We can still believe, 'cause Boss Man is on the air.
The story continues. Boss Man on air with you, broadcasting for the American dream. Built by faith, sustained by freedom. You know, what used to be a warning about protecting your privacy has become a culture where every old mistake are constantly pulled back into the spotlight. These days, you're almost better off living off the grid and hoping that something doesn't come up on the net that looks like you, resembles you, and gets people talking about you. People have lost their lives, they've lost their homes, their jobs, and even their fortunes over innocent things from decades ago. In today's day and age, that scares people more than anything. America once celebrated a comeback, but with society and the internet, I've recently begun to ask if one moment or one old post can either ruin all that or redefine someone's whole life. Take this for example.
Is it true that you said that you considered Hamas to be 1,000 times better than Israel and you'd vote for Hamas over Israel every single time? Is that true and you stand by it?
Yeah, I do.
This is where you go wrong, Hassan. You find yourself basically in a position defending
don't tell me I'm wrong.
elements
tell
of
me
this.
Why I'm wrong.
I'm telling you why you're wrong
look,
because you're honestly saying you saw Jewish people, overwhelmingly Jewish people killed that day.
So October 7 was traumatic. There were heinous acts of violence that took place. No doubt about it. I would never agree. I would never disagree with that assessment. I defend anti-colonial resistance movements when there are aspects of their anti-colonial resistance or their ideology.
There's nothing to defend. They kill innocent people. There's nothing to defend.
You know, when it comes to internet posts versus books, in a book, failure is viewed as a chapter. It's a segment of someone's life where they fail or have difficulty, but from that difficulty, they learn. Online, you can't do that. Online, if it's 3 years ago, it's 3 minutes ago. If it's 10 years ago, it happened yesterday. When did redemption stop carrying as much weight as the original mistake? A lot of online personalities are finding that out really well. And in today's culture, it's really easy to grab onto a movement or something that carries weight with it. This could no more easily be demonstrated than by the recent tragic loss of Charlie Kirk.
I think it's dangerous and maybe even part delusional. I always say that right-wing politics, conservatism, more often than not, revolves around hallucinating an alternative reality just to get mad at said reality, and then endlessly getting mad at that reality. It's very obvious that the Steven Crowders of the world and the Ben Shapiros of the world and even Charlie Kirk as well was not actually invested in the Socratic method, in applying like the Socratic method or having like a real back and forth where they arrive at a truth, but they were just simply using this or SJW owned compilations, easy slam dunks against hysterical college freshmen. Well, this is how polite discourse is supposed to happen. Now, of course, political violence is abhorrent. All violence is abhorrent. Having said that, I think we must be honest about the role that Charlie Kirk played.
There were many on different sides of the aisle that were very passionate, talking against his death, some in the other way. Before long, a lot of companies begin to distance themselves from those who celebrated it. Many lost jobs, many were deplatformed, and many found out the hard way exactly what the consequences of an online profile will have to. The thing people fail to realize, unlike film and television and 35 millimeter films of the old days, digital history is searchable. You can pull it up instantly and put yourself back at any time you want. And the way algorithms are factored in today with online media, YouTube, Facebook, Google, all these platforms, they don't just preserve old content, they often glorify bringing it back. Now, every weird thing you do, now every bad thing you do, it's only just a screenshot away. One of the things I famously talk about here on BossMan on Air is the American dream. The American dream has always included the idea of starting over. With the internet the way it is today, and with posts and judgments all being what they are in today's society, that is becoming so much harder to realize. Opportunity means little if yesterday's permanency outweighs today's possibility. Every little thing you do is judged. Every missed word is considered a sin. Every political position could either make or break every day you work. If you try to build a life online, the American dream is almost twice as difficult because of the small judgments made in dark corners you never see. So let me ask you and put in the comments what you think. Can a society build on second chances and thrive without being reminded of every single bad thing that happens? You know, I don't think anyone watching here can honestly say they've never done something that they wish they couldn't take back. No one person watching is innocent. I myself have done things I regret, but I've also learned from them. Whether it was something you said or something, a decision you made back when I was younger, you knew less and could care less, and you didn't have to worry about the internet. Today, you do. Today, things are so much different. The truth is, experience is a funny way of changing every single one of us. You know, you can be Hassan Piker and change. That don't mean everybody has to forgive these people. But when did forgiveness become the first thing we forget about? And mistakes matter, and they always will. But maybe the bigger question isn't whether somebody made the mistake. Maybe it's whether we're willing to realize and recognize the person standing in front of them today may be far different than that old post they watched. So when you ask, why does one old post redefine someone's life? The digital highway has lanes just like any road. There's a lane for going and there's a lane for coming. I just hope that the idea of a comeback is not lost in all the turns we take in our lives. I believe the art of the comeback story itself deserves a comeback. I'm BossMan. I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me talking about this. Remember, no single chapter was ever meant to become the whole story. Because around here, the story continues.